Hey guys, tonight we embark on a journey that begins with a little girl, just 3 years of age, surrounded by the thick stone walls of a medieval abbey. You see through her eyes as strange lights dance in the shadows, and sounds that defy explanation swirl around you. It seems almost like magic, doesn't it? But brace yourself, because navigating mysterious visions like these might make you feel like you're inside a storybook adventure where you'll face the unknown. And there's a real chance you probably won't survive this without feeling a bit dizzy. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Feel free to share your location and what time it is there in the comments. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. As the night descends, you close your eyes and imagine yourself in the past. You are young Hildegard, standing on the cold stone floor of your parents' home. Your eyes are wide, as they often are, with the wonder only a child holds. The walls of the small room fade to black as those familiar lights return, dancing orbs, casting soft glows against the ceiling, as faint whispers tickle your ears. No one else can see or hear this, and you wonder if any other little girl witnesses such marvels alone. Historians still debate whether these visions were physical manifestations or something more profound planted by a divine hand. In these moments you feel special, chosen, almost though the meaning escapes you at such a tender age. Since your earliest memories, these sensations have colored your world with hues others can't perceive. They make you pause, turn your head, and listen closer to stillness, only to break into a soft laugh, amused by how the ordinary becomes extraordinary in an instant. Life in the 12th century Rhineland is far from glamour. Simplicity is an understatement. The day often starts early under the muted morning sun that filters through thick clouds, a shy warmth that works its way into the day ever so gently. Unlike the vibrant, blazing energy of our modern world, your days are filled with hand-spun yarn and earthy fragrances. It is a slow life one that allows for these contemplative moments where your mind can drift back to the glowing visions that visit you. The rhythm of life in your surroundings feels like it echoes within you. People grow accustomed to your oddities, accepting them as peculiar quirks of a creative child rather than divine whispers or celestial flares. Hildegard, the little visionary. They speak kindly of you, those whispers of unusual tales, reaching only the most sympathetic of ears, your gentle admonition for those bright, secret moments. One day, the village priest stops by during their rounds, greeting your family with a smile. The discussion drifts and swirls like autumn leaves, catching in gusts of wind, eventually landing on you. You sit quietly in the corner, hands clasped, listening contently as the adults praise what they call your imaginative tales. But deep down, you know the truth. These are not tales. They are experiences beyond the grasp of mere fantasy. The air is thick with the aroma of a hearty stew simmering over a hearty fire. Its warmth spreads through the modest home. The priest nods thoughtfully, glancing at you with a curious twinkle in his eyes, According to historical records, he may have spoken of ancient scriptures recounting comparable visions experienced by others, those who witnessed divine messages and spoke of radiant light. It intrigues you, this connection to a broader narrative. Could your visions mean more than solitary nightly displays? With each passing season, your encounters with these phenomena grow like wildflowers through the cracks of everyday life, particularly during profound silences, when time stretches gently each second, elongating into minutes. It is said that even from a young age, you possessed a remarkable resilience in the face of such mysteries, nurturing an intuition that guided you through the uncharted territories of the future that awaited. Tonight you drift into a peaceful slumber, allowing your mind to wander over the tales whispered around hearth fires, stories of saints and prophets who once lived in times so unlike our own. The visions weave their magic into your dreams, stitching together ordinary life with threads of celestial mystery, and like a timeless lullaby passed through generations, these experiences will shape the woman you are to become, Hildegard, seer of heavenly wonders. The gentle embrace of the night enfolds you, and the comforting rhythm of your breath slows. You are lulled by the gentle night, slipping further into the divine's curious embrace, as though God himself rocked you to restful sleep. Hildegard, the 10th child of a noble family, peers out through the narrow window of her soon-to-be new home, a small stone abbey perched on a hill that seems to stretch into forever. It's morning, and the mist still clings to the grass and edges of the walls like a mysterious veil that hides the Abbey's secrets. You step forward, feeling the damp chill in the air, and catch a glimmer of sunlight through the clouded sky. Today is the day your life changes forever. Being the 10th in line, your family's eyes had been on you since birth. Each of your siblings before had taken paths molded by family needs, but yours was charted by vows and solitude. You were promised to the church a common path for noble girls, not in line to inherit lands or titles. Curiously, historians still debate whether this path was truly divine calling or mere practicality wrapped in religious duty. You remember when your parents had explained it to you, a blend of solemnity and hope in their voices? Your mother, with her soft yet resolute eyes, spoke about service and spiritual connection. You were too young to grasp the full significance then, only understanding that you were meant for something important, something larger than the routines of your home. As you take a reluctant step inside, an unusual detail captures your eye. A cat, sleek and nimble, darts out from behind a pew with such disdain for the intruding humans. You've heard tales of these feline guardians, whispered stories that seem centuries old, and wonder if you'll meet this creature again in your quiet moments. You're greeted by an elder nun whose smile is gentle, yet hints at years of wisdom and unyielding discipline. She welcomes you not with grandiloquent speech, but with a simple nod toward a small room barely more than a cubbyhole. It's sparsely furnished with a straw mat and a narrow window like the one you'd spied moments ago. This will be your sanctuary, and you're confined a place where echoes of the outside world barely reach. In those early days, the silence feels heavy and unfamiliar companion, where once there had been the cacophony of 10 siblings, laughing, debating, and living. As the days pass, and you find rhythm in monastic routines, solitude transforms, sculpting a new you, one of quiet reflection, introspection, and sacred pause. You begin to learn the prayers, chants rich with years of tradition and mystery. Each word you utter feels like a step further into this new, expansive spiritual realm. At night, when the world is reduced to the sound of your breath and the distant owl, you think about those who began this practice centuries before. Surprisingly, you find peace in a world so different, yet so aligned with the divine purpose. As days turn into weeks, the routine carves deeper channels into the core of your being. There's an unusual comfort in predictability, in knowing the ebb and flow of the day, unlike the unpredictable nature of your life before. From hours spent tilling the garden to preparing simple meals, every task carries a weight of meaning. No one may have predicted how these seemingly mundane activities could lead towards enlightenment. It's a path you didn't choose yet. In its embrace you grow. You embrace the small victories like perfecting the growth of rare herbs in the garden, a legacy of the nun before you whose devotion was as deep as the roots she tended to daily. Despite this growing sense of belonging, there are whispers in the corners of your mind, fueled by the academic uncertainty of a girl's place within church doctrine. Could it be that your role is more than quiet obedience? Might there be room for inquiry, for seeking understanding beyond the accepted confines of your duties? One evening, as you sweep the floor of the chapel, you hear snatches of conversation from visiting clerics. They talk of strange lands, of books filled with knowledge beyond the realm of the sacred. Your heart flutters with an unacknowledged thirst for this expanded universe. Perhaps this is your calling after all, not just to serve, but to learn to question, and if fate allows, to teach. You pass by the library daily, a room you're not yet permitted to enter freely, its door a boundary of worlds unexplored. But you sense that within its walls lie the seeds of your purpose, the true promise of your path. Every story has its twists, and as you nestle deeper into this life of service, you feel your own story wending ready to branch into places not charted by your early days. Could it be that your presence here is less a necessity and more a chance for destiny to unfold? Another mystery to uncover, just as the mist uncovers the quiet beauty of the Abbey each morning. In the deepening quiet, you wrap the calming tones of vespers around you like a comforting blanket, feeling the night gently drawing its curtain on another day of this unfolding tale. Raised in an anchorage with Jutta von Sponheim, you find yourself in a quiet room where the silence is as thick as the stone walls enclosing you. The first light of dawn barely filters through the narrow windows, casting delicate shadows that dance across the cold floor. Your days begin early in this place where the outside world feels distant, almost mythical. Each morning you're met by the serene yet imposing presence of Jutta, a figure steeped in her own mysteries. She guides you with patience, her voice, a gentle echo against the stones. Her teachings are not only of scripture and prayers, but also of nature of the world beyond these walls that you've hardly seen. The lessons are demanding but mesmerizing in their simplicity and depth, much like the mesmerizing effect of watching snow silently covering everything in winter, transforming the landscape. Jutta speaks often of contemplation and reflection skills that are your constant companions here. You spend long hours in solitude, cultivating your inner world. It is in these moments of silence that your mind wanders, and you feel connected to something vast and unexplainable, like staring into the night sky and seeing not just stars, but an endless universe. Historians still debate whether these early experiences were meant to prepare you for the role of a visionary, or if they simply allowed your natural inclinations to flourish. Education here is not just about absorbing knowledge, it's about inquiry, about looking within, about asking questions that have no simple answers. Your teachers speak in ways that urge you to think deeply, to see with more than just your eyes. It's said that Jutta herself experienced visions, and as you listen to her stories, you wonder if you might share in this mysterious gift. The days slip by in ritualistic rhythm, and though your world is small, your thoughts and reflections paint a much larger picture. You are taught not only to read, a rare skill for a noblewoman, but also to write music and understand medicine, an unusual education for any woman. At that time, it seems tailor-made to your inclinations and abilities. There are moments when you can almost hear the whispers of the future, your path unfurling quietly in the silence of the anchorage. It's here among the shadows and the whispers that you begin to understand the power of solitude. While many fear, silence, you learn, it is your ally, your companion. The stone walls, which at first seemed confining now, echo with knowledge and self-awareness. You understand that these experiences are not to imprison your spirit, but to set your mind free. There are stories shared of Hildegard's beginnings, fascinating tales of a girl whose potential was recognized early, whose spirit could not be enclosed by mere walls. But the truest story comes from within, from the dreams and the thoughts that visit you in the night when darkness itself seems to carry messages. Late into the evening when the world is hushed and the only sound is your own heartbeat, there's a sense of connection to God, to creation, to everything larger than yourself. Time in the anchorage is marked less by the passage of days and more by the shifts in your understanding, your growth. It's a kind of transformative cocoon each day, building upon the last until you are ready to emerge. And what awaits you outside these walls, that is a mystery all its own, a mystery that's alluring and shapes your imagination. As you drift into sleep, you wonder what your role might be in this grand tapestry, whether your visions will become clearer, and what secrets the world beyond these walls holds. You understand that your journey is just beginning, and the stars you've only dreamed of seeing might one day be yours to witness in all their glory. You are Hildegard, and your story with all its paths and possibilities has only just begun. The gentle rustling of leaves whispers through the air like a gentle lullaby, coaxing you to relax as you imagine the enchanting life of Hildegard, a remarkable young girl with eyes that seemed to see through time itself. In the chilly serenity of the 12th century Abbey, a world filled with stone chambers and candlelit halls, you find yourself drawn into the comforting familiarity of parchment and ink, surrounded by scholastic murmurs and the rustle of robes. She was barely more than a girl, Hildegard, who spent most of her time in quiet reflection, leaving people around her with curious wonder. Her silence, profound and deep, was rarely broken, but when it was, her words resonated like music carried on the wind, mysterious ancient tunes composed of insights far beyond her youthful appearance. Her mentors were baffled, humbled even by this girl whose knowledge riveted their austere gatherings. How could someone so young possess such awareness of both earthly details and ethereal mysteries? Surely they thought she must hold secrets passed down from the divine, embroidered through her words like golden threads in a tapestry. One could easily envision her as a protagonist of a tale, whispered across centuries shrouded in soothing mystery. As you picture the scene vividly in your mind, you see her during a typical day at the Abbey. The once mundane act of preparing simple remedies from herbs becomes something extraordinary, as Hildegard's slender fingers deftly crush lavender and rosemary remnants of Earth's wonders, releasing their soothing scents. Her understanding of their properties transcended mere memorization, as she would whisper to them in a language the others did not speak, communion with the natural world that seemed innate to her being. It was during one of those quiet afternoons, the sun casting mellow beams through high-arched windows, that she revealed a particularly startling piece of wisdom that would linger for ages to come. Her words created ripples in her little pond, the kind that sparked warm debates among the venerable scholars of the Abbey. As they discussed theories of health, she casually mentioned the concept of balancing bodily humors, a prelude to what would later be known as holistic medicine, a term unfamiliar, yet curiously intriguing at the time. The idea that people's health influenced their temperament, and vice versa, was a notion they found peculiar and challenging, as if she had traveled on a golden chariot from another era altogether to deliver fragments of wisdom. Historians still debate whether Hildegard might have been inspired by inherited manuscripts long lost today, or if her imaginings were solely hers to conjure both possible and endlessly fascinating. In the candlelit shadows amid hushed discussions, they would return to her insights, eager to dissect them, eager to unravel what her messages might mean. Her uncanny ability to see connections where others could only see separate strands puzzled them, just as one might marvel at the intricate web of a spider. So they marveled at her mental maps. Outside in the Abbey courtyard, sparrows flit about, sending little showers of dust into the golden afternoon sunlight. Everything appeared tranquil here, yet inside these walls lay a world throbbing with newfound enlightenment. It's funny how places echo with memories of footsteps carrying with them whispers of those who lived and thought and struggled here. The kind of story that wraps you warmly, like that patchwork quilt you had when you were younger, stitched with love. And so you drift alongside this girl who spoke rarely, but when she did, painted entire folkloric landscapes with her words. One couldn't help but consider the depths of all she knew and moreover suspected. Perhaps this perception didn't merely spring from the depth of books or classical stoicism, but from something more, a soulful connection to divine whispers the rest couldn't hear. As twilight descended over the Abbey's stony embrace, the scholars gathered once more. Their discussions drifted the halls like smoke patterns, barely perceptible, but there, nonetheless. The figure of Hildegard in the shadowy alcove was a constant, gentle reminder of the beautiful enigma within a silent message detailing the world's blurred boundaries and boundless curiosity. Here, among bastions of learning and seekers of spiritual fulfillment, the resonant humility of one young girl could unfurl layers of understanding that had previously been ignored or overlooked, weaving unnoticed parallels between the earth and stars. She constructed a narrative rich in potential futures, and boundless wisdom told quietly through wisdom-filled eyes and the soft rustling of broken silences. In that timeless blend of history and bedtime musings, you rest easy content in the knowledge of the earth's gentle hum and the ancient lore of the heavens, embracing patience and awe, just as Hildegard did. You are poised on the brink of sleep, softly wrapped in that rich legacy of whispered secrets and wise repose. One day, it was as if the weight of silence had grown too heavy for you to bear. The soft whispers of your visions had become a constant presence in your thoughts, echoing through the quiet halls where you walked alone. The world you lived in was swathed in mysticism and faith, where the line between divine inspiration and earthly fear was as delicate as the morning mist, tangling closely with the lives of those around you. You had always held your visions close, like secret keepsakes, tucked gently away, just as the careful nuns hid their rosaries. But on that day, little did you know your quiet world was about to change. You find yourself in a realm where religious fervor beats like a second heartbeat. The small chambers and cloistered gardens are filled with a silence that is only broken by hymns and the soft scurrying of feet on cold stone floors. In this enclosed world, your community is bound together by shared routines and rituals as ancient as the blistered pages of prayer books. You remember sitting in your cell, the walls around you plain, but for the little window high above your only glimpse of sky, which told tales richer than any piece of stained glass. It was in these moments, under the pale light, that your visions began to weave their stories. At first, they came like gentle shadows, almost uncertain of their place, much like how historians still debate whether certain relics hold any divine power, or if they are mere human misinterpretation. But slowly, they became more insistent, pounding against the confines of your understanding, like the sea against a battered cliff. The quiet nudge of inspiration that could be brushed aside with prayer or contemplation was gone, replaced by a resonance that held your breath still and your sleep patient for daylight. You started to document them in the corners of meager parchments, words flowing out of your quill like unbidden confessions, a brightly lit tapestry scribed in the dark. The decision to voice these visions was not made lightly. You knew the balance was delicate. How your contemporaries might receive the words was uncertain. Would they view them as divine insights or devilish trickery? Religious communities led by deep faith often walked hand in hand with fear. The unknown was always a threat that prowled just beyond the touch of candlelight. Perhaps it was your naive trust in kindred spirits, or the subtle arrogance of youth that made you believe in the goodness that ran through them. Or maybe it was simply time, a deep ancient rhythm calling you to action, its cadence marking your every heart's beat. So on a day, much like any other, in the hushed crypt of the chapel, where light filtered through with kaleidoscopic tenacity, you shared your first vision aloud. The ripple it caused was instant. The air was alive with charged whispers, as if the Madonna painted in solemn blues and golds high above had heard you and relayed your speech to every brick in the wall. Some of your fellow sisters listened with wide eyes, reverence etched into their faces as they felt the divine skirt by. Others, however, were struck by fear, their hearts clenching with dread like a fist. They looked at you as if a touch might bind them, similarly wondering if holiness and heresy could ever wear the same robe. In light of their mixed response, your heart did a curious dance. For in speaking out, you had leaped from the safety of your silent perch. You stood on the edge of everything you cherished, and like the fragile wings of a moth, you had dared to exist alongside the flame. The more you spoke, the more you shared, the clearer your path became. The power in the simplicity of truth was intoxicating, like the recognition that early explorers felt upon discovering lands thought impossible to reach, only to find the ground firmly under their feet. Yet there was another side, an uncertainty that pulled at you. Would the support of some be enough to shelter you from the storm of fear set brewing by others? Like that curious tale of Saint Hildegard of Bingen, who historians still debate whether her wisdom flourished due to her cunning communication or her established place within the religious hierarchy. You wondered if your place would provide enough shield for your voice. The way forward was like walking a tightrope, spun of faith and audacity, and the safety net of certainty below had fallen away long ago. Yet isn't that always the way of pioneers? As the church bells called your community to vespers, you stood with them carrying this newfound duality within your heart. You realized that change had settled upon your shoulders, light as a feather yet undeniably present, and wondered how it would mold the chapters of your life to come. As the harmony of voices rose, mingling with the incense that wafted towards the heavens, you felt the subtle shift in your community. Each vision shared had planted a seed of transformation, no matter the initial reception. Some even watched you with a hint of inspiration, lining their eyes a spark that whispered of possibilities beyond the scriptures they clutched so dearly. The journey had only begun, a journey where knowledge and spirit intertwined, promising tales yet to be told and wonders yet to be seen. Your voice once, an echo within walls, now began to find its place, resonating amid the faithful opening paths of reverent discourse that dared to step beyond silence's shadow. Hildegard's fingers glided smoothly over the parchment, carefully applying the ink with confidence the ends of her feathered quill dancing softly. The parchment was light, almost ethereal, a blank canvas for what would soon become a tapestry of divine images, a source of wonder for generations. You sit beside her, the room filled with the subtle scent of wax from the flickering candles, illuminating her focus, and the pages growing intricacy. In this quiet sanctuary, your mind drifts as you watch her imagining the vivid images that she seeks to capture. What extraordinary visions could be so powerful that they seem to demand presence on the page? This afternoon, Hildegard's eyes seem to reflect more than the room they show, a world filled with vibrant colors, unearthly sounds, and ephemeral figures. Her commitment to documenting them is a calling that defies the simple constraints of time and language. Historians have long marveled at the symbolic complexity of her work, yet they debate whether these visions were purely religious or imbued with the deeper mysteries of the natural world. As you look on, you realize that this woman possesses insights that paint the very essence of both earthly life and divine grace, mingling the two realms on the page she crafts now. The visions, she was known to say, came from both the celestial and scientific, an innate part of creation that invited endless exploration. Nestled within the strokes of this manuscript is the tale of the cosmos seen through Hildegard's eyes. Suddenly, amidst the rich colors of reds and golds, you discern shapes that resemble the beams of a grand cathedral wrapped in halos of light. It feels like the entire parchment might light up with just a single breath. And so Scivias began to take form, not merely a collection of illustrations, but a mirror of divine enlightenment, offering a glimpse beyond the mundane into something extraordinary. You may find a sly, small voice inside you, noting with light sarcasm that meeting ethereal beings was not exactly on the agenda when you started your day, but here you are by the side of a visionary whose insights transcend the ordinary bounds of human experience. You admire the rhythmic flow of her writing. Each word and detail invites you deeper into a world where heaven and earth converse freely, a place that perhaps only Hildegard truly understood, yet desperately wished to share. You can almost hear the whisper of winds through mystic landscapes, or the sound of water's gentle embrace in clear, otherworldly streams. Each image adds volume to the silent secrets they hold, detailed within the pages of Scivias. The manuscript, you sense, will be more than a classic. It will be a bridge across centuries, a living testament to the power of the imagination when touched by the whispers of the divine. It is curious, though, how some scholars still wonder if Hildegard's visions were benedictions or burdens, for often she spoke of the weight they carried pressing at the edges of her consciousness, like a vine that must grow or wither. You ponder such questions quietly, held captive by the gentle yet persistent pulse of her work. As she concludes her writing for now, the candlelight dances around her like a halo, an unintentional echo of the art she creates. A tranquility fills the room, softening time itself, as if even the monks in their nearby studies pause to breathe in the profound resonance of her revelations. You watch as she places the quill down her face, reflecting quiet satisfaction alongside echoes of the day's discoveries. And as the evening draws deeper into night, far from bringing a closing to your day, it beckons you further into thought. The gentle rustle of leaves outside could almost carry whispers from the pages you just observed being brought to life. In this serene moment beside Hildegard, it becomes clear that the journey of Scivias is one of shared vision. In following her quill, you too embark on a gentle voyage not only into the tapestry of the divine, but into the capacity of human creativity to capture what often seems unfathomable. Thus begins your restful descent into dreams, wrapped safely in the glow of candlelight and the profundity of visions that speak beyond their time. With ease, you close your eyes, letting the images linger in your mind, a prelude to peaceful sleep, as rich and as escorted by their own grace, just like the pages that lie beneath Hildegard's gentle touch. Determined and unwavering, you step into a vast echo-filled chapel where candlelight flickers against ancient stone walls. Overhead, stained glass windows filter sunlight into a kaleidoscope of color, a breathtaking reminder of the divine mysteries. You, like many others, are drawn by whispers of awe and admiration, stories of a woman named Hildegard who defies norms with her voice and insight. In the center of the room stands Hildegard, not with the authority of title, but through the gentle power of conviction. Her presence is striking a steadfast beacon in what is traditionally a male-dominated sanctuary. You listen as her words flow, weaving theology and morality into a seamless tapestry that hangs thoughtfully in the listener's mind. It's said, Hildegard experiences visions, vivid celestial insights that bring her understanding far beyond the reaches of ordinary minds. Historians still debate whether these were genuine divine encounters or expressions of her own profound intellect channeled through more spiritual language. Nonetheless, there's no denying the stir she creates, drawing people like you from noble to peasant, much to the chagrin of some church leaders who find themselves unsettled by her rising influence. Infusing her sermons with wisdom and clarity, Hildegard uses imagery that illuminates dark corners of complex theological concepts. You feel it in her depiction of the soul's journey as a river, ever flowing against stones of doubt and valleys of sin towards an endless welcoming ocean. Her voice is a gentle stream, comforting yet guiding. You learn that Hildegard's life is indeed as colorful as her sermons. Born in 1098, she was a remarkable polymath who, despite obstacles, led her own abbey, where she nurtured not only spiritual devotion, but also music and natural science. Her works in healing and understanding the natural world were hundreds of years ahead of her time, a pleasant surprise to listeners like you, who may have only expected to hear chants from the cloisters. As you sit among the crowd, you notice the room's quiet awe interspersed with murmurs of surprise and delight at Hildegard's unconventional illustrations. She speaks of divine light in ways possibly dangerous to her questioning institutional boundaries and challenging stagnant beliefs. Yet her courage is not brash. It's a subtle insistence on truth that almost gently asks permission to transform her audience. You take heart in this as her stories continue to unfold. There's talk of visions where she describes a cosmic egg, the universe itself, layered with intricate shapes and colors, each representing an aspect of existence. Isn't it fascinating to think of creation as sheltering us, like a delicate yolk within a protective shell? This notion of an interconnected universe resonates with you, as does her belief that music can heal when aligned with celestial harmony. You recall moments when a melody comforted your own restless soul, akin to Hildegard's chants, believed to echo angelic choirs. Her holistic view of the world and human life captivates you, blending science, art, and faith into a harmonious coexistence. You marvel at the irony that such a progressive voice comes from deep within the confines of a medieval religious institution. Whispers around you suggest that some leaders feel threatened by her influence. Yet perhaps it is this boldness in speaking out combined with her humble rejection of excess and her embrace of simplicity that draws others to her cause, just as you find yourself captivated by her narrative this evening. Suddenly you daydream about becoming a part of this world. You imagine joining her community of learners and seekers, feeling free to explore the rich tapestry of ideas she weaves so effortlessly. You think how amazing it would be to live in a time when the air buzzes with the energy of revelation and enlightenment. But as the evening draws near, you remember the comfort of your own warm bed and ease gently back into the present. The room dims as the last of the sunlight slants through the windows, casting longer shadows. Hildegard's voice softens, speaking now of rest and reflection, how the soul, like all creation, needs time to pause and replenish. You feel a connection to these ancient listeners from the shared desire to understand more about life's mysteries to an admiration for those brave enough to seek out and question the status quo. It's intriguing how history gifts us moments like these, where the echoes of old yet timeless ideas still find resonance in our modern world. As Hildegard concludes with a call for inner peace and unity, you sense her words settling over the crowd like a gentle protective veil. Her presence remains long after her final blessing, a guardian spirit of sorts. As the congregation quietly disperses, you walk back into the night, carrying with you the energy of this shared experience, etched like stardust into your own story. With each step, you absorb the evening air, moist and cool, feeling it wrap around you like a soft embrace. You ponder the gentle sway of nature's rhythms, reflected in Hildegard's teachings. They speak of cycles and futures promises, written into the stars above, much like the guiding patterns charted in her visions. In the stillness of the realm outside, you take comfort in the mysteries still unsolved, the theories debated, and the endless exploration of soul and spirit. A warmth blooms in your chest, entwined with a newfound kinship to all those who seek question and imagine beyond the tangible. As you close your eyes tonight, the journey lingers, each thought a lullaby, weaving you into a tranquil sleep, ready to dream alongside those who once listened to the extraordinary voice of Hildegard. As you wander through the winding corridors of medieval abbeys, you're pulled toward a distant, otherworldly sound. The ethereal melody floats like smoke through the ancient stone walls, wrapping you in its haunting embrace. It's as if the music itself has come alive, whispering secrets of a time long past. This celestial sound is a creation of Hildegard von Bingen, a woman of deep faith and profound musical genius. The echoes of her compositions still resonate in the world of modern meditative music. You find yourself sitting on a cool carved bench in the vast echoing space of an old cathedral where Hildegard's chants seem to hover in the atmosphere. Imagine for a moment a scene centuries ago where a young girl named Hildegard, destined for the cloistered life, found solace and divine inspiration in the silence of her convent. Born in 1098, a time teetering on the borders of harsh reality and mystical revelation, she would capture the celestial in notes that climbed toward the heavens. Hildegard's music was nothing ordinary for her time. Her compositions soared beyond the usual plain chant, bursting with intricate melodies that seemed to mirror the cosmos itself. Though she was a nun committed to a life of devotion and prayer, her pulsing creative spirit couldn't be contained. Historians still debate whether Hildegard's visions were divinely inspired, or perhaps manifestations of her own intense inner world. Either way, these visions drove her to create music that seemed imbued with the very essence of the divine. You discover that Hildegard often described her visions as the shade of the living light. In such moments, she claimed to experience an extraordinary clarity that transcended the mundane. This clarity guided her to compose over 77 liturgical songs each, a masterpiece reflecting the tapestry of her own spiritual enlightenment. In her music, the chants interlace like vines, growing toward a mystical sunlight reaching for the ineffable. In those cloistered walls, imagine her with a flickering candle scratching parchment, with ink dark as night pulling faint harmonies from the recesses of her mind. Hildegard refused to be just another footnote in history, and instead she carved her own path, infusing her music with that rare blend of simplicity and complexity, making them unforgettable. Every note she penned had a vibrancy that seemed to ripple through time, still touching modern listeners, seeking tranquility amidst the chaos of life. Her compositions often reflect the balance between earthly living and the aspiration for spiritual transcendence. Much like the soaring arches of cathedrals that draw your eyes upward. Unusually prescient for her time, she was not afraid to layer melodies, creating a texture, both in her music and in the lives she touched. Perhaps in those early days, as her chants began to take shape, she could not have known that they would become timeless, a tranquil bridge for countless generations, seeking peace amidst their own tumultuous worlds. Though she lived in a cloister, Hildegard's influence transcended those barriers, spreading across lands and centuries. She defied expectations of what a woman, much less a nun, could achieve in the medieval world. Historians muse over her unyielding spirit. Was it sheer force of personality, divine intervention, or the quiet support of like-minded souls? As you listen, let Hildegard's music encircle you like a soft silken cocoon, sheltering you from the harshness of day-to-day realities. Her life's work has a quiet, steadfast glow, enduring and steadfast, just like the stars that have witnessed countless ages pass. Let the music guide you, as it has guided so many into a night filled with peace and reflection. And so you drift with Hildegard's chants, hovering just beyond the realm of dreams, a gentle cradle of sound, gently easing you into the mysteries of sleep. Just as her music wove through the corridors of her convent all those years ago, it weaves through time and space, now resonating in your ear, echoing in your heart, drawing your thoughts into a dance with the past and your spirit toward restfulness. Feeling the peace settle over you, you are once again part of that timeless symphony, a serene observer in a world spun from dreams and the unbroken threads of history. Hildegard's heavenly melodies embrace you as they embraced countless others before you, and they will continue to echo into infinity, carrying you gently across the threshold of sleep. Her fascination with the mysteries of healing unfolded slowly, like a flower revealing its vibrant petals to the morning sun. You find yourself drawn into this world, one where the boundaries between nature's wonders and human health blur. It's as though you're wandering through lush, verdant gardens, surrounded by the intoxicating smell of flowers and herbs, each with a story to tell. Herbal remedies are woven into the tapestry of this tale. You can almost feel the soft leaves of peppermint brushed by your fingertips, the cooling, fresh scent wafting into the gentle breeze. Imagine her pen scratching onto parchment, detailing how these plants, with their unassuming green leaves, hold secrets to soothing aches and calming troubled minds. This was not merely superstition, but a belief that the earth itself offered hidden answers for those who knew where to look. However, she didn't stop at herbs. Her curiosity led her to stones, those ancient silent witnesses to the epochs. You might picture her leaning over a table scrutinizing a piece of malachite, the deep green mineral swirling with bands of darker hue. Stones she believed held unique energies. Though the exact reasons were lost to time, she noted the weight and feel of each stone, possibly pondering how centuries of geological pressure imbued them with their mysterious qualities. Early medical theory also thrived in her writings, infused with the spiritual. Imagine combinations of observations rooted in the physical and the ethereal. Here, spiritual balance was as crucial as any tincture derived from herbs. It was more than just understanding symptoms. It was about harmonizing the body with the spirit, a holistic view that resonates through the ages. Still, historians debate whether she truly grasped the full spectrum of her discoveries, or simply compiled what was known from travels and tales. As you walk alongside her through this narrative, you can sense a light-hearted skepticism, like pondering whether a particular brew of elderflower and feverfew could genuinely shield one from and cure ailments, much like those curious bits of advice handed down by family traditions with a wink and knowing nod. Her writings reflect a synergy of her time's best medical insights, spiritual beliefs, and her observations. It's not hard to imagine her late at night, under the dim glow of a flickering candle, jotting down thoughts that shimmered with inquisition and possibility. Each word was carefully chosen, much like an alchemist selecting elements to forge something extraordinary. As you dreamily step further into her story, you realize this journey is not about solving a mystery or plucking definitive answers from history's dense fog. Instead, it's about savoring the journey through the serene landscapes of thought and discovery, a meditative path that invites you to look for healing and wonder not just in texts, but in the harmonious world around you. As you find yourself nestled comfortably ready to unwind, let me take you on a gentle journey back in time. Tonight we're peeling back the layers of medieval life to visit a fascinating figure, Hildegard of Bingen. Known as an intellectual force in European politics, she managed to correspond with emperors, popes, and nobles, all from the confines of her cloister. Her life was a tapestry of intrigue, music, and power, the kind of backdrop that makes history so captivating. Hildegard stood like a beacon of knowledge and enlightenment, her prowess transcending the walls of her abbey. You're about to dive headfirst into the mystique of her world, a world where you probably won't survive without Hildegard's extraordinary ability to navigate the tricky waters of medieval influence and politics. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop your location and local time in the comments below. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you wander through the lush corridors of your imagination, you suddenly find yourself near the walls of a medieval convent. Imagine the gentle rustle of robes as abbesses and nuns glide past, their quiet whispers mingling with the sounds of prayer echoing through the stone halls. It's within this serene setting that Hildegard's story unfolds. Although cloistered away, her mind reached far beyond the confines of stone. With ink-stained fingers, she penned letters that would cross miles, landing on the desks of the most powerful figures of her time. Each letter was a testament to her keen understanding of theology, medicine, and philosophy topics not easily discussed in an era dominated by men in power. Yet her voice carried the weight of wisdom that demanded respect and attention. In one such letter, it is said that she corresponded with Emperor Frederick Barbarossa, offering advice that balanced the delicate lines between spiritual guidance and political counsel. Her words, though gentle, were laced with a wisdom that even the mighty emperor found challenging to ignore. Historians still debate whether her influence was felt directly in his decisions or if her counsel was more of a guiding whisper in his ear. Nonetheless, her ability to engage with powerful leaders showcased the depth of her intellect and the breadth of her influence. Among her correspondences, Hildegard's letters to the popes discussed matters of celestial visions and moral imperatives. You can almost picture her sitting at her writing desk, quill in hand, reflecting deeply before setting her thoughts to parchment. Her ability to blend her religious visions with practical advice allowed her to engage with even the most powerful religious leaders, offering insights into divine visions that were as enigmatic as they were profound. One unusual detail that surprises many is that Hildegard, a woman in her position, would also reach out to the nobles of the land, advising them on issues from estate management to moral conduct. Her ability to articulate complex ideas clearly and provocatively often surprised recipients who may have expected a recluse rather than a formidable intellect. But how did she acquire this influence? How could a woman cloistered away have such a reach? Her story, much like the mysterious notes of her music that resonates through the annals of history, is layered and complex. While some speculate her relations with various political figures were purely strategic, others believe they were a sincere effort to invoke positive change in a turbulent world. Isn't it fascinating to think that Hildegard in her quiet convent possessed a voice that could resonate in the courts of kings and the chambers of the Vatican? As you drift deeper into your own dreams tonight, consider that your thoughts, like hers, have the potential to transcend boundaries. In a world filled with noise, it's often the quiet voices that bring about profound change. As the cool night breeze carries the scent of lavender through your window, let yourself float upon the notion that intellect and spirit are forces that know no bounds. In Hildegard's letters, you find wisdom wrapped in gentleness, like a soft lullaby that reassures and yet propels one to contemplate fundamental truths about faith, power, and knowledge. In this calming reverie, remember that through the mists of time, it is often the silent whispers and thoughtful musings that steer the course of history. So as you lay here, cozy and primed for rest, take a moment to ponder the subtle power of your thoughts, shaping, guiding, and perhaps in their own way changing the world. With Hildegard's story cradling your imagination, let yourself sink into a restful solace. Here, wrapped in the warm embrace of your sheets, you might just dream of letters softly penned, visions gently guiding, and a knowledge that expands far beyond the walls that surround you. Her health often failed her, a mysterious ebb and flow that puzzled those around her. You find yourself drifting back in time, walking through the quiet halls of the modest home where Johanna, a woman of both reverence and curiosity, resides. The air holds a peculiar chill, despite the warmth of the hearth, as if the walls themselves know her secrets. One historical fact dances through your mind. Johanna hailed from a time where the line between mysticism and medicine blurred the 14th century, an era rife with pandemics and spiritual quests. Her figure is frail, resting on a wooden cot, covered with thin woven blankets. You see her breath steady but labored, like that of an old war horse, tired yet unyielding. The fever has come again, a recurring companion, like an unwanted guest at a soiree. Johanna's skin glistens with perspiration, and her hand clutches a well-worn rosary beads passing through fingers like the sand through an hourglass. Historians still debate whether these fevers were mere physical afflictions or the price of her divine visions. It's whispered that in her haze she spoke prophecies, visions sent like whispers through the veil of reality. But you can't help but wonder, was it the fever's hallucination? The soft murmurs of the townspeople drift into the room, their words a mixture of fear, respect, and suspicion. To them, Johanna is a beacon of insight, yet also a reminder of the unknown's grasp. Her weariness a canvas painted with both the stroke of the divine and the brush of ailment makes an impression on you. Could such suffering truly be the vessel of heavenly messages? An unusual detail you note as you linger in the threshold is the bouquet of lavender and chamomile by her bed. You suspect it's not just for the pleasant aroma, but rather an ancient attempt to ward off illness, or perhaps soothe the mind's tempest. It's a reminder of the rituals and beliefs that intertwined in those times, where the simple act of placing herbs could hold the weight of hope. Johanna's eyes flutter open, and for a moment they lock onto yours. There's something in her gaze, a deep pool of wisdom and weariness, suggesting that she knows truths hidden beneath her feverish dreams. When she next speaks, her voice is a soft tremor, each word weighted as though pulled from somewhere beyond this world, outlines of distant lands, cryptic yet compelling words, which will likely be dissected by the curious for generations to come. The day wanes into evening shadows, stretching long and languid across the wooden floors. There's a shift in the room's atmosphere as the fever breaks, leaving Johanna in a state of gentle calm. It's a curious sense of duality. The fever seems to be both her oppressor and liberator, its wake leaving a strange kind of clarity. You are drawn to the window, looking out over the rolling hills, and the twilight sky stars beginning to prick the canvas above. You sense that Johanna's place in this world is that of a bridge connecting the tangible and the ethereal, the sickbed and the holy. The winds are calm, and you feel a sensation settle over you, a timelessness that connects eras. Just as her fever ebbed, so too does your gaze return to her, a figure small yet encompassing so much more than the sum of her frail parts. As the night deepens, you remember a surprising belief from her time. Some considered such temporary illnesses as marks of spiritual favor or notoriety, a thought perhaps comforting to those who neared the divine in their suffering. It leaves a curious echo in your thoughts, the contemplation of how perspectives have shaped understanding through the ages. Returning to Johanna's side, you notice her hand now rests peacefully, the rosary set aside. Her breath is serene, a soft cadence that matches the ambient hum of the world settling in for night. The simplicity of this moment offsets the complicated nature of what she's experienced. A gentle reminder that even in the midst of chaos, there's peace in small certainties. As sleep softly perches like a bird on a branch, you ponder one last academic uncertainty. Were her visions messages sent as divine gifts? Or were they simply the wild, untamed creations of a fevered mind? The answer eludes you, as it has so many others. Like a shadow just at the periphery of your vision, always present, never quite grasped. You prepare to draw the curtains, but the soft light from the moon bathes Johanna in a gentle glow, and you decide to leave it open, allowing the night's tranquility to wrap around the room. As you step back, the night carries you away, lulled by the rhythm of history's eternal questions and the certainty of a world wrapped in mystery. As you move across the verdant hills of the Rhineland, the morning dew clinging to your feet with a refreshing chill, you feel a sense of peace and purpose. Your attention is captivated by Hildegard, a remarkable woman ahead of her time, whose desire for independence has led her on a quest to carve a space of her own amidst the rolling landscape. It's the 12th century, and Hildegard von Bingen, a revered abbess, composer, and visionary, is about to make a mark on history by founding her own monastery at Rupertsberg. She steps forward with determination, eyes gleaming with the light of someone who envisions a future of both spiritual growth and intellectual freedom. The Rupertsberg isn't just a startup for her community. It's an emblem of her resilience and strength, a sanctuary where she can cultivate her visions of divine prophecy and holistic healing. You are there watching as stones are laid one by one, forming walls that seem to rise with a collective breath of earth and spirit. Historians often marvel at the architectural accomplishment, still debating whether Hildegard might have had a hand in the layout herself, supervising with the keen eye of someone who found strength in structure. Despite the challenges she faced from those who questioned the propriety or necessity of a woman leading such a venture, Hildegard's vision outshone the skepticism like a star amidst shadows. You can almost hear the echoes of resistance fading as her plans physically manifest in the form of sturdy cloisters and sacred spaces. It's unusual, perhaps, but those who doubted were soon left with little choice but to acknowledge her resolve. The atmosphere at Rupertsberg is one of vibrant activity and genuine camaraderie. People are drawn to this growing community, eager to learn, share, and heal. Hildegard, with her profound knowledge of plants and healing, introduces remedies that alleviate ailments with a touch of nature's grace. Her compositions, divine in nature, fill the halls with melodies that soothe restless hearts. The blend of herbal recipes and heavenly harmonies is irresistible, a soft nod to her unique ability to weave spirituality with science. As you wander through the cloisters, you can't help but smile at the gentle sarcasm with which nature itself seems to respond to her efforts. The bees buzzing a little more harmoniously, the wind dancing playfully through cornflower patches, almost as if amused by the novelty of their human counterparts. You imagine Hildegard observing a slight and knowing smirk on her face. The tranquility here is profound, offering a space where questions of the soul find answers in the rustle of leaves or the serene sway of grasses. But despite the outer calm, the world beyond remains ever turbulent. Whispers of simpler doubts linger. Historians still debate whether Hildegard's mystical visions were divine, psychological, or somewhere in between. Yet here, her nature-inspired philosophy has rooted deeply, casting aside such uncertainties. You sit beneath a chestnut tree, feeling the warmth of the sun break gently over time as Rupertsberg's shadow extends like a comforting arm across the land. Her story is one of independence carved from determination, much like the community she has built, sturdy, enduring, graceful in its purpose. As twilight descends, you find solace in the sanctuary she created, sensing the enduring legacy of her achievements. By building the Rupertsberg, Hildegard has not only secured the independence she sought for herself and her followers, but she has also planted the seeds of change that would continue to grow long after she was gone. With each passing breeze, you can almost hear the soft whisper of her legacy, a reminder of the power of one person's vision to cultivate an oasis of peace and understanding in a world desperately in need of both. You appreciate this moment of connection with the past, a resonance of tranquility that Hildegard herself perhaps envisioned as the ultimate gift for those who followed. And so beneath the starry sky, you drift gently into rest, carrying with you the echoes of a day spent in the presence of greatness. Hildegard, with her indomitable spirit, had always been a beacon of strength and conviction. You find yourself walking beside her on a brisk morning, her steps purposeful as she maneuvers through the Abbey's corridors. It is said that once she set her mind to something, there was little that could deter her, not even the strict orders of the Church. The world around you is in motion. Birds are chirping in the crisp air, and the morning light filters through stained glass, creating vibrant patterns across the stone floors. During this time, many voices were constrained, especially those of women. Yet Hildegard dared to speak out openly, defying the papal command to remain silent. Her voice was considered divine, by many filled with wisdom and guidance. You can almost hear her preaching as she orates on the nature of God, the universe, and humanity's place within it. Her sermons were said to be a mix of visionary statements and practical teachings truths gleaned from her deep insights and spiritual visions. One amusing detail of her life is that Hildegard, despite the Church's disapproval, seemed to have an unusual affinity for the loud chanting of hymns. There are accounts of her choir rehearsing at all hours, echoing through the halls, whether the Church liked it or not. It's enough to make you wonder if those hymns still resonate within these walls, or if they're only preserved in the whispers of monks. Historians still debate whether Hildegard's motivations were purely spiritual, or whether she used her visions as a clever means to assert her authority. Either way, her actions carry a weight that cannot be ignored. Her decisions were not trivial protests, but significant challenges to the norms of the era. Your journey with Hildegard takes a somber turn as you follow her to the edges of the Abbey grounds. There lies a place where stone markers stand as sentinels to those who have passed a small cemetery. It's there that Hildegard performed one of her most controversial acts. A nobleman once excommunicated by the Church had died. Despite strict commands, Hildegard believed that no soul should be denied a Christian burial. The sky overhead reflects the gravity of the moment clouds, moving in like a slow wave, layering the world in gentle hues of gray. In a bold act of defiance, she authorized his burial, with full rites surely aware of the potential repercussions. As her hands gently sprinkled holy water on the freshly turned earth, you sense the quiet strength of her resolve. The air is still, and time feels as if it stretches into eternity for a moment. You can feel the weight of her actions, the ripples they create, reaching far beyond the Abbey. It's whispered among the sisters that even nature seemed to honor Hildegard's actions that day. A lone hawk circled overhead, silent and observant, as if bearing witness. Could it have been a sign? The sisters certainly thought so. And their shared stories over evening meals only add layers to the legend of Hildegard. This unwavering faith, her resolute spirit, and the courage to act on her beliefs, even at great personal risk, are what hallmarked Hildegard's life. She did not merely exist within the framework of her time, she transcended it. And as the story unfolds, you're left to ponder the true nature of power and spirituality, and what it all truly means amid the intricacies and conflicts of medieval life. As you walk back through the silent corridors, you feel the warmth of the stones alive with the history and the whispers of those who have walked these paths before. Each step carries with it the resonance of Hildegard's legacy, a melody crafted from conviction, courage, and a defiant spirit. Her story, embedded in the lore of time, serves as a reminder that the courage to speak one's truth, to defy unjust silence, is powerful and exquisitely human. The sun begins to set, casting long shadows, as if illuminating your path back to the present, carrying forward the tales and lessons of the past. And as the day closes, you feel that the journey with Hildegard has left an indelible mark on your understanding of the world, woven into the fabric of history, just as surely as her melodies are woven into the air. Her gaze drifts upwards, where the cosmos stretches infinitely, a startling expanse that seems to wrap around you like the gentle curve of an eggshell. This isn't just any egg. It's a cosmic one, a mystical symbol that whispers directly to your core. She speaks softly of the cosmos as an egg, a protective shell, cradling the entire universe within its embrace. It's an inviting thought, not unlike the shell cupping a baby bird as it sleeps. You feel encased and comforted by this rich and ancient metaphor. Her words weave together a narrative, each syllable soothing as it vibrates gently through the air around you. The cosmos isn't the cold, indifferent void some might imagine, but instead it is nurturing and alive. As you imagine this egg, it shimmers with light, each flicker a sign of life, echoing the same way stars twinkle in the night sky. The stars themselves are alive, pulsating with the energy of life. They let you see how life presents itself as light. Every star, a beacon of existence flickering into being, with the innate reality that all things that live like you under this celestial canopy are bound by this glowing truth. Life beams forward, radiant and unhindered. But this tale she spins is not only about what you see when you look upward. It's also how you connect to the deepest mysteries around you and within you. God, she says, is the living flame, a force of warmth and presence eternally dancing within and without. Like the stars far above it, offers a glow that is constant even when it seems hidden from view. This divine fire is not one of destruction, but of transformation and renewal, ever present and endlessly nurturing. She's a mystic, a poet with beliefs so radical they ripple through the fabric of what you know and challenge it, inviting wonder and curiosity. You feel a quiet liberation as she describes ideas that twist and turn from what is familiar into new perspectives. Her theology skirts the edges of what is typically rigid and invites you to glide softly beyond. Amidst her tales, you find yourself picturing God as both singular and boundless, the profound living flame that dances in every corner of this cosmic egg. In this narrative woven from celestial strands, you understand a flicker of humanity's long desires to comprehend the ineffable. And even as historians still debate whether these visions emerged solely from her inspired creativity or if she drew from older hidden knowledge, the very murmur of uncertainty fuels the beauty of her theology even more. As you wade through her thoughts, there's an inherent wisdom in the way she claims space for wonder and doubt, for solidity and fragility. You can hear the soft rustle of academic discourse as it debates her narratives. Yet the arguments only serve to make her stories of light and flame feel even more real, tangible, like the warmth of a campfire at dusk. In this quiet space she creates, you're offered a truth that doesn't call for adherence, but invites deeper reflection and gentle introspection. Her cosmic egg gleams gently in the vast night, perpetually on the cusp of morning, the possibilities of inception, ever present. Life and light spiral together, a choreography of stars, each step a resonant note echoing through time and your own heartbeat. Just beyond the immediate reaches of perception, the divine flame flickers a guardian against the cold of the unknown. You feel it in the very breath you draw, in and out, the same warmth that ignited humanity's first fires, a kindred glow. And so, as you lie back to dream, comforted by the mystical and radical prose, she spins the cosmos as an egg cradles you once more. And in this space, where myth and reality blend seamlessly, you float gently into rest, with the eternal flame brightly alive within your very soul. As you continue your journey, the air tingles with the anticipation of where your travels might take you next. Word has spread about a figure in a far-off land, someone whose presence feels like a thread tying the earthly realm to the divine. Curiosity and whispered stories drive people of all walks to embark on a pilgrimage just for a glimpse of her, an acknowledgement not yet bound by any official decree, just the purity of faith and admiration. Your footsteps follow those trodden by many before you, leading through winding paths and across landscapes marked by history. Upon reaching your destination, you find yourself enveloped by a soft, reverent murmuring. The crowd gathered holds an air of eager expectation mixed with the spiritual peace that often accompanies such quests. It's said that the woman at the center of this pilgrimage is revered almost as if she were a living saint, her life a tapestry woven with acts of kindness and moments of profound insight, has captured the imagination of countless people seeking hope and guidance. Historians still debate the precise origins of her renown. Some say it sprang from a single miraculous event, while others suggest it was the lifetime accumulation of thoughtful counsel and generous acts. One thing is certain, her influence knows no bounds, stretching far beyond the borders of her modest abode. The cynics might say it's all a myth, built up by tales, yet here you are, part of a living testament to her significance. You stroll closer, joining the line of travelers, waiting patiently, each seeking an audience with her. The queue is long, but moves with a gentle rhythm, giving you time to observe those around you. People of different backgrounds and languages, some on foot for days, some having traveled by carriage or horse, are united here in purpose. Imagine, if you will, the curious fact that their journeys are fueled not by tangible rewards, but by something much more profound: hope, a yearning for something greater, stories of unexpected fortune. The lady they come to see is known for her incredible empathy. able to listen with an openness that makes people feel understood and respected, no matter their story. It's said she lives simply surrounded by hints of an austere life. But in simplicity, there's clarity, a thought known to many philosophers and spiritual leaders. Her abode, a small rustic dwelling, is adorned only by nature itself. Vines that hug the walls, flowers that casually dot the landscape around, like confidants in bloom. Look closer, and perhaps you'll notice the birds that seem more like companions than mere creatures. There's an unusual detail murmured among those waiting. Some claim she has a knack for calming even the most stubborn of animals, as if her tranquility speaks directly to nature. It's one anecdote in a sea of such tales that contribute to her living legacy. She embodies a gentle charisma that attracts people not because of grandeur or wealth, but because of an authentic peace that resonates with those around her. Finally, your patience rewards you. It's your turn to step inside. The transition is almost seamless as the line flows towards a room that you imagine holds the faint glow of candlelight. The air here is serene, carrying the faint scent of lavender, and with it, an otherworldly calm washes over you. Seated before you is a figure whose presence commands not with authority but with warmth, an embrace from a friend you've somehow never met before. Her eyes, windows to endless compassion, meet yours with a knowing gentleness. The atmosphere suggests nothing of grandeur. Yet there's an undeniable aura of holiness that sets her apart. She greets you kindly, effortlessly, turning the space into a wellspring of stories and experiences shared like old friends, sitting down to enjoy a simple meal together. The interaction is not that of a leader dictating to followers, but a shared moment of genuine human connection. The conversation draws you in like a tide, pulling gently on the shore, details of lives lived and dreams hoped for, weaving together words like a delicate tapestry. There's an earnest exchange of ideas, laughter, reflections, simple yet profound. You can't help but ponder the numerous souls that have absorbed wisdom from her presence before you, each that left carrying with them the seeds of change sown by her careful words. Yet the full impact of her life's work remains an enigma, its true measure perhaps never to be fully known. Listening to her, any nervousness you might have had dissolves as you find yourself engaged in the kind of conversation that feels rare and treasured. She listens deeply, responding in ways that highlight not just understanding, but a commitment to seeing you, the person behind the words. The outside world fades, like outer noise softening to a distant hum. Here, wrapped in a bubble of conversation, you begin to grasp why so many considered her a living saint. The world outside continues whirling around its usual pattern of bustle, restless and unyielding. But inside this space-time, slows offering solace and serenity that feels almost luxurious in the simplicity of its offering. As your time concludes, you leave uplifted, carrying a lighter heart, each memory a keepsake, just as the others before you had done. And although your lived experience is a ripple in the grand narrative that surrounds her, the collective tide in which you're now part carries profound potential, moving outward to touch lives unseen. Leaving the house back among the crowd that's parting like gentle waves to allow your passage, it dawns on you that this place seemingly ordinary way out here in the stretch of lands where not all maps go has become a spiritual beacon, its influence immeasurable, yet undeniably potent. As your days meander forward, an ethereal sense surrounds you, painting each moment with an air of something beyond this world. You are one of the select few drawn close to her, a woman whose visions shape the very course of destiny. She is revered, seen as a guiding beacon who forecasts the future and offers guidance from realms unseen. Yet as with all who bear such gifts, her time is fleeting, and her light, though brilliant, begins to dim. Her final visions are unlike any before. They sweep over her with a newfound intensity, like the fierce, unyielding waves of the ocean that crash without regard to what lies in their path. You find yourself in the intimate circle of those who gather, seeking her counsel, as these visions offer more than mere glimpses of the unseen. They are portrayed as urgent messages, laced with warnings and layered with hope. One evening, as the sun dips below the horizon, casting a dusky glow over the world, you sit cross-legged by the flickering light of a candle. Shadows dance along the walls, and you're keenly aware of the weight of her gaze as she enters a trance-like state. Her eyes, usually full of warmth and wisdom, seem to peer beyond the veil of the here and now, venturing into a time yet to come. The storm approaches swirling and strong. She murmurs, her voice a whisper, yet carrying the power of a declaration. It's a curious prophecy, one that sends shivers rippling up your spine. Storms have always been a mark of change in these parts, and ring with significance far beyond their physical presence. Historians still debate whether these visions were purely metaphorical, or if she indeed foresaw calamitous weather that would braid hard truths together with gentle guidance. Nevertheless, she continues, prepare yourselves, for in the midst of chaos there will be a path to light, but only for those who dare to see it. In times past, her visions often included such vivid imageries, sometimes even yielding rather unexpected mentions, like the flock of crows, traditionally seen as an omen, interpreted with positivity for once. Perhaps drawing from ancient lore, she turned any omen into a lesson of awareness rather than fear. A unique twist that puzzled some followers, but enlightened others in profound ways. Her health wanes visibly before your eyes, sapping her physical strength, but seemingly strengthening her psychic perception. It's as if her life force is being diverted, fueling the luminescent trail she leaves in your midst. You watch as those around you lean in closer, absorbing each word, each pause, knowing that time marches relentlessly onward, and soon she will be beyond the reach of this mortal plane. One part of her message resonates deeply. She speaks of courage, not the heroic kind that charges into battle, but the quiet bravery that looks into the heart of darkness and whispers of better days. Such courage guided explorers across vast oceans, much like when daring sailors like Zheng He set forth from China, commanding grand treasure ships that bridged distances never thought surmountable. This historical reference, ever present in your mind, parallels her calling for intrepid spirits to navigate the storms of their own lives. Her visions are also filled with guidance whispers of encouragement, leading you towards inner peace amidst the uncertainty ahead. Her words offer a semblance of tranquility, even when the world teeters towards the brink of the unknown. Details she sprinkles through her guidance come unexpectedly akin to her earlier vision of goat fat, a shared memory for you and the others now invoked as a reminder of surprising lessons embedded in daily experiences. As you listen, absorbing every bit of her transformation from a flesh and blood teacher to perhaps a legend, you find solace in the threads of continuity she weaves. Her stories, grounded in historical truths, with surprising quirks, become like echoes heard, remembered, and discussed long after she falls silent. Through her final vision, she not only serves as a harbinger of what the future holds, but as a compassionate guardian. Each prophecy, though intense, paints a serene landscape of possibilities, persuading you to contemplate your journey with a new lens. The candle flickers its final glow as she concludes her breath now, more measured like the gentle ebb of a retreating tide. Her followers sit in silence, the room filled with the ambient hum of pure reverence. And as you sit back, awash in the aftermath of her profound transmission, you know that the way forward, though shadowed with uncertainty, is illuminated by her luminous guidance and the vivid tapestry of one's courage and kindred spirit. As her light fades, the story you have witnessed is anything but an end. It is an invitation to embrace the journey ahead, to dare to perceive what others might ignore, to walk paths that have been embarked on by so few, and to trust in a future marked by the echoes of her counsel, forever leading you toward the horizon where light and life converge. You find yourself within the softly lit space of the Abbey, where the air is filled with a serene and reverent hush. The familiar scent of beeswax candles mingles with the sweet aroma of old manuscripts and fresh herbs. The sound of shuffling robes, a whisper of the past, fills the room as you stand beside Saint Hildegard, the abbess known for her visions and musical compositions that still echo through these ancient walls. In the fading light, her eyes seem to hold a delicate brightness, a reflection of the years she spent enveloped in the mysteries of life and faith. Surrounded by her beloved nuns, she orchestrates this final, solemn gathering. It's no surprise that this meticulous woman who composed divine symphonies and documented compelling visions would conduct her own passing with such grace. Murmurs rise and fall like the tide, blending with the chants that Hildegard herself has woven a tapestry of sound that fills the hearts of her followers with peace. There's something comforting about being here, wrapped in the gentle embrace of tradition and ceremony. The nuns' faces are a mix of sadness and understanding, knowing that they are part of something timeless. Their voices blend harmoniously in a familiar chant, one that Hildegard had penned in a moment of profound inspiration, a melody that speaks of cycles and eternity. It might interest you to know that Hildegard's life was not always bathed in the gentle shadows of cloisters and hymns. Born in 1098 in the lush Rhineland, She was offered to the church at a young age, something historians ponder, wondering whether it was out of faith or as a way to secure her future. Her early years were spent in seclusion, yet they were rich with visions that would later become the bedrock of her spiritual writings. Tonight, the Abbey's stone walls serve not as a barrier, but as a sacred circle that holds within it centuries of devotion. The room feels like a sanctified space, and you feel a part of it connecting with the threads of history that Hildegard herself helped weave. It's odd to think that this small, gentle woman inspired so much devotion and curiosity. But then again, she had a way of transforming what was ordinary into something transcendent. The script you witness is centuries old, yet its pages are alive with the pulse of human longing. Between the lines of Hildegard's compositions and writings, one can sense a woman who refused to be confined by the limitations of her time. Her nuns, now holding vigil, recite lines from her work, Scivias' visions of luminous images that Hildegard claimed were as vivid as reality itself. Just as she guided her nuns through the rituals of daily life, Hildegard guides them now through the ritual of her passing. It is a gentle reminder of the cycle they've all embraced, much like Hildegard's deep belief in the interconnectedness of the cosmos and the human spirit. It's worth noting that despite her revered status now, it wasn't always smooth sailing. Her contemporaries were as puzzled by her brilliance as they were envious. Yet here she is, acknowledged and celebrated, tucked lovingly into the folds of history. The moments unfold slowly, a deliberate pause of time where every breath taken is a testament to the legacy of one who dared to capture divine mysteries within the constraints of language and song. Historians marvel at her pioneering work in music, considering her compositions among the earliest known pieces attributed to a woman. It's as if her very essence has seeped into these walls and continues to resonate gently, perpetually. As the final chant finishes echoing through the Abbey's corridors, a deep, serene silence fills the space. You can almost feel Hildegard's essence drifting upwards, joining the chorus of celestial harmonies she so often envisioned. With a tender exhale, she slips away, leaving her beloved nuns gathered in a gentle embrace of shared sorrow and gratitude. Even in death, Hildegard is a testament to life's continuous song, one that persists, evolves, and fades with grace. The legacy she leaves is not merely one of spiritual rhapsody, but a gentle nudge for all to seek beyond the tangible to find that divine spark within themselves. As the soft glow from the candles flickers against the ancient stones, you realize that her journey feels complete. There's this air of reconciliation, as if all anomalies and unresolved passions have peacefully settled into the fabric of her legacy. The nuns, each with their memories and shared experiences, slowly disperse from the room, their robes trailing softly over the cold stone floors like whispers of bygone eras. They will carry her teachings forward each step, an echo of Hildegard's presence, each word a continuation of her meditation upon the divine. Soon, lamps dim and footsteps become scarce. The Abbey breathes a sigh, a lull back into its nightly rhythm. The weight of the moment eases, and into this mellowing what comes next feels as though the story has integrated this gentle passing seamlessly. Your breathing becomes synchronized with the lingering cadence, an unpretentious reminder that though one chapter closes, the melody remains drifting indefinitely across time through night into gentle dawn. Centuries have passed since your adventures alongside Hildegard of Bingen, yet her brilliance remains unfaded, shining through the corridors of time. As you walk through the quiet, candlelit Abbey, her presence is warmly felt. The soft murmurs of her ancient chants whispering through the air, the earthy aroma of herbs, dried and stored, promising their healing properties. You find yourself drawn into Hildegard's world once more, a world where her voice was like a sweet balm, both calming and commanding. Even as she dared to defy the conventions of her time, by speaking out as a woman, her wisdom garnered respect and admiration. Those around her revered Hildegard, and her presence was a cornerstone of strength and innovation in the Abbey, from leading the sisters in devotion to tending to the thriving herb garden outside. Despite her impactful life, it's curious to discover that Hildegard wasn't canonized until centuries later. Her sanctity, though recognized by those who knew her, lay officially dormant as time elapsed. Historians still debate as to why the process took so long. Perhaps it was because her writings were ahead of their time. A symphonic blend of theology, music, and science that took centuries more to be truly appreciated. And isn't it just nice to imagine that beneath the veil of sainthood, she didn't mind her delayed ascent into the ranks of the canonized? Maybe she would have laughed at the irony or shrugged it off as mere earthly oversight, preferring instead to busy herself with her visions and sounds. Your footsteps echo softly as you wander past her painstakingly transcribed Scivias, the vivid illuminations still bursting with color, each stroke of the quill a testament to her enduring spirit. It was here, within these pages, that she captured her divine visions, the manuscript radiating with the complexity of the cosmos she so profoundly described. Interestingly, many still debate the nature of those mystical encounters. Were they simply the vivid outputs of a hyperactive imagination, or perhaps divinely inspired revelations? Either way, they remain an enduring mystery, their enigmatic allure untouched by the passing of centuries. Even without official sainthood in her lifetime, Hildegard's memory was nurtured like the tender plants of her garden, sustaining those who followed in her footsteps with the fruits of her labor. Her music, a celestial harmony that blended earthly notes with heavenly echoes, transcended time, providing solace and inspiration to all who hear it, much like a lullaby that caresses your soul and eases your mind. Though the authority granted by sainthood would come much later, the enduring brightness of her life ensured that she was never truly forgotten. It's almost as though Hildegard herself softly placed a finger to the lips of history, insisting that her stories would be told and retold, not for the sake of canonization, but simply because they were life-giving in themselves. You can imagine her with wry humor, nudging you from across the ages, her eyes twinkling at the thought of all the fervent discussions and scholarly debates she continues to ignite with her work. Perhaps she even chuckles, amused at the irony that being out of step with your time isn't necessarily a bad thing when you're content in who you are. Amidst the comforting silence of the Abbey, you feel a sense of peace and gratitude, knowing that her memory is faithfully preserved, passed down like an heirloom of grace and wisdom from one generation to the next. Her teachings, her insights, and her gentle yet unyielding challenges to the status quo remain as profound today as they were centuries ago. And so, under the watchful eyes of the stars, peeping through an arched window, you find yourself easing into a deep, restful serenity. The Abbey slumbers, yet Hildegard's essence breathes within its ancient stones, assuring you that her legacy is as everlasting as the heavenly melodies she so artfully composed. The night unfurls before you, cloaked in a soothing embrace, inviting you to surrender your thoughts and to dream of distant worlds as vivid and boundless as the visions Hildegard painted in hues of divine inspiration. Let her songs guide you into a peaceful sleep as you rest, assured that her memory, like a softly humming fan, will forever whisper its gentle lullaby through the ages. You find yourself nestled beneath a thick woven blanket, the glow of a small lamp casting warm shadows across the room. As you let your mind drift and settle into the cozy folds, you hear the gentle tale of Hildegard, a figure whose influence resonates even in today's world, weaving its way through the lives of artists, healers, feminists, and musicians alike. Through time, Hildegard constructed ethereal bridges across the vast landscapes of creativity and healing. Imagine the soft, inviting timbre of her melodies, the kind that might accompany a gentle breeze or the calming waves of the sea. Her music was not just sound, but a communication with the divine, mingling heaven and earth like never before. You might be surprised to learn that Hildegard was known not only for her compositions, but also for her innovative ideas in the field of medicine. Her written works on natural health and healing touch upon traditions that are still evident in holistic practices today. She advocated for plants and the earth's resources as a means of nurturing the body and spirit, a philosophy embraced by many modern healers. Artists would find their muse in Hildegard's visions, the vivid, detailed imagery she described lending themselves to the strokes of many a painter's brush. Her visions, which she termed the shade of the living light, brought an unfurling of creativity that extended far beyond her own lifetime. A particularly unusual fact is that while she lived in a time where opportunities for women were scarce, Hildegard's courage and conviction allowed her to found not one but 2 monasteries. Historians still debate whether her determination was fueled by divine inspiration or sheer tenacity, or perhaps a bit of both. Hildegard's reach fluttered its way into the hearts of feminists, as well as they discovered her writings filled with wisdom that transcended the deeply entrenched gender norms of her era. Her advocacy for women's voices and leadership was a gentle yet firm reminder of the power and intelligence that resided within everyone, regardless of gender. In the moonlit glow of your imagination, you can see these strings of influence, these whispers of Hildegard's spirit intertwining across generations. Her story was not just one of religious pursuit, but an enduring journey into creativity, healing, and equality. It's as if you are quietly walking through a tapestry hall where her legacy is woven into every inch, every thread, singing in harmony through the ages. You can almost feel the cool stone of her monastery beneath your feet, hear echoes of her chants in the softly humming air. Imagine an artist today, brush in hand, exploring the depths of Hildegard's visions, each stroke a testament to her celestial creativity. Across the city, a healer prepares an herbal remedy, echoing Hildegard's ancient wisdom. And somewhere in a quiet study, a feminist reads Hildegard's words, drawing strength from her voice to champion new narratives. Indeed, Hildegard's life was not just about the spiritual, but also about bridging earthly experiences and intellectual explorations in art and science. Her musical compositions, filled with soaring notes that seemed to reach for the sky, were also deeply rooted in a quest for understanding the human condition. The soothing quality of her music, you find, was believed to not only bring listeners closer to the divine, but also to provide real, tangible healing. History notes that her compositions have the power to comfort and mend a balm through both pain and joy. For those attuned to the history of music, it may be noteworthy that she composed symphonies centuries before music was widely documented. The impact of her work resonates in countless musicians, each one possibly unaware of the ethereal thread that connects them to a visionary of the ancient past. Yet it is in the hazy realm of memory and vision where Hildegard felt the most at home. When she spoke of the shade of the living light, she articulated a vision profoundly transformative, a gift of insight that she held from childhood into her elder years. Such visions, whether a divine gift or a marvel of the mind, continue to stir the imaginations of many. As you settle further into comfort, consider the words left unwritten, the whispers of history that still echo soft and undisturbed, just as embers under a starlit sky. From these embers of influence, be it art, medicine, music, or social thought, Hildegard's legacy stretches, casting a gentle light wherever her voice is heard. And so as the world continues to turn and new stars grace the night sky, the spirit of Hildegard lingers quietly, embracing each soul who dares to listen, to heal, to create, and to fight for what is right. As you relax deeper into the night, let her story infinite, as the stars lull you into a peaceful rest. As the candle flickers, your eyes follow its dance, the gentle sway of shadows against the walls, casting familiar shapes into mythical creatures. The warmth seeps into your skin, a cozy blanket of light that cradles you, much like the wisdom of Hildegard, the sage visionary who wandered through time with her unique insights. You let your worries slip away with the flicker of each wick, recalling how Hildegard often saw visions that guided her through the complexities of medieval life. Her eyes, much like yours, are now would close softly, only to be open to worlds colored by divine inspiration. In the soft cocoon of your blankets, you picture her standing in fields of green, the simplicity of nature offering solace and guidance to her contemplative mind. Your imagination takes you back to the 12th century, where Hildegard found solace in nature and God. Known as the Sibyl of the Rhine, Hildegard's life was awash with sounds and visions that she believed to be gifts. Historians marvel at the richness of her spiritual experience. She was a writer, a composer, and an herbalist. But even in her prolific life, she might have found her fame surprising. Yet here she is guiding your dreams centuries later. The gentle rustle of your sheets mimics the careful turn of parchment paper as Hildegard wrote down her mysterious visions. Her works, a tapestry of theology, medicine, and music, can almost be heard as you slip deeper into a restful state. Her melodies echoing through the empty halls of the past were said to bring calm, each note a pure expression of her divine encounters. Despite her unique gifts, it's interesting to ponder the vibrant colors of her dreams and whether they might have matched the garden she loved so dearly. Did she see the golden hairs of angels, or were her visions more abstract? It's one of those little mysteries historians still debate. Your mind wanders delicately, tiptoeing through the past. Imagine her garden, an earthly manifestation of the paradise she envisioned in her dreams. Each plant lovingly tended held secrets she deciphered to heal and comfort. The hum of bees in the distance could almost be a hymn. You think much to your tired amusement. After all, bees have been making that music long before humans decided it was divine. There's a calm reassurance in knowing that Hildegard's visions, originally kept secret by the convent walls of Disibodenberg, eventually bloomed into a wealth of wisdom for the world. She might have been ahead of her time, writing boldly, singing loudly and gently, correcting those who dared to underestimate her. A certain fondness emerges when you consider her correspondence with popes and emperors, as if she was merely penning letters to old friends, sharing noonday secrets. Her dreams, much like yours, traveled far and wide without boundaries. Were they imbued with an indefinable power that made rulers pause and listen? Your eyelids grow heavy as you ponder this, resonating with her meditative detachment from earthly feuds, her gentle guidance, akin to the subtle wisdom of stars. The gentle tug of her words marks a path through the complexities, offering a soothing refrain as you drift furthers into the soothing lull of sleep. As Hildegard once saw it, the world is a momentary flash in a much grander vision. One can't help but draw analogy to this evening's flickering candle, its flame representing a singular, vibrant life. Although her journey has long passed, she whispers truths into your resting soul. The heaviness of sleep descends effortlessly, each breath rhythmic and slow. Her story lulls you deeply, just as she perhaps hoped. Her visions would soothe the doubtful minds of her time. You feel cradled in the quiet understanding that sleep requires no justification. It simply is, promising dreams beyond measure. In your mind's eye, Hildegard walks through her convent's stone halls, her voice clear and mellifluous, guiding the sisters in an ethereal harmony. You find yourself drifting with this song into dreamscapes crafted by her steady visions. The rustle of leaves in a nightly forest, a mere echo now, as you slip deeper, resembles the glowing tendrils of her illuminations. Just another artistic expression of how interconnected everything feels in the softened reality of night. As sleep wraps around you like the gentlest of clouds, you let Hildegard's story fade gently into whispers. Her timeless wisdom cradles you as you surrender with the safety and tameness of dreams leading the way. The flickering flame softens to a glowing memory, and in the sanctuary of your mind, you drift alongside Hildegard into the same peaceful storybook dreamland she knew so well. Like the candle's shadow dance, sleep covers you ever gently, inching you towards rest, until Hildegard's gentle visions become the backdrop of your own dreaming self.